No complaints.
The
Uh,
webinar has started, Mr.
the
Ridgely.
webinar has indeed started. And so is the winter, dude. It is
Uh,
freaking cold in certain places, man. I'm telling you, down here in Florida, we got this heat wave going on. I just went for a walk with a t-shirt on, 76 degrees outside, man. And my understanding up in the Midwest and Canada, whatever, I mean, really cold already.
yeah, and Teresa and I were just looking at the winter forecast across the country for this season, and we're expected to have heavier than usual snow if you're in areas that are prone to snow. So we're gonna get more than our share this year, is what I heard.
Well,
Oh, Dr.
you
Art
go.
says it's cold and rainy in Phoenix.
All right, it's not supposed to be cold and rainy in Phoenix, man. I mean, come on now. What's up with that? I mean,
There you go,
whatever.
right?
Ay,
Well,
ay, ay.
welcome everybody. Welcome to Mind Types After Dark. We do have mind types on the mind today, and so just want to say hi to Jim, Linda, Mary, Scott, Dr. Art, and Elisa. Good to see you all, and more people are joining.
Yep,
So originally, do
fantastic.
you have your props, your seven mind
I
types?
got my props, bro.
There you go.
You know, but what the members, our mastermind members may not know is that here's what I get from Hubert. Okay,
Yeah.
I get, hey man, do you have your props for the call? That's it. I do not have any idea what's coming next. Okay, so
Uh,
for those of you who've been with us for a long time and we like to have fun and stuff like that, I want to let you know that mastery over your content, whatever it is, Scott Brown obviously being a executive coach wizard, those kinds of things, whatever, Art being the manufacturing lawyer dude, whatever your thing is, Linda being the art creator, etc. Whatever your thing is, having mastery over your material is really, really key. And it's great when you have somebody that can kind of challenge you every now and then to whatever, and you walk into it with full confidence. I had a thing happen to me this evening, Hubert. I don't know if anybody else does this, but despite my spiritual practice, which is very strong, I'm a big believer in mentors, helpers, whatever. And once in a while, I go to see a counselor with my wife to make sure we're checking in, make sure everything's all cool. And it was good, really good. And the counselor and my wife said to me, you really ought to think about teaching. I don't know if you all know this, but I have a master's degree in education as well as a law degree and a bunch of other degrees that don't matter to anybody except me. And I've always had that kind of in the back of my mind, right? And we were talking, I was like, I mean, I could teach many, I mean, I could teach about writing. I mean, I could teach about digital marketing, whatever. And then it occurred to me, I was like, wait a second, what is the one thing that I feel so supremely confident about that I could walk on a stage right now and teach, and that would be public speaking. Because I've been a professional speaker for a very long time in the elite leagues, and I thought, and it woke up something um, that might be a really cool kind of a gig to go meet some young people, hang out with some young people. Apparently, most people are scared to death of getting on the stage. I'm not. So, I'm thinking maybe and then what was happening to me as they're describing this was the following, Hubert Lee. That's why this is relevant to this particular mastermind. I was thinking to myself, what, they're going to come up with some freaking handbook or something? They're going to give me some textbook or something. I'll be like, Psh, are you freaking kidding me, man? I'm going to go on AI. I'm going to figure out the very best of the best that's out there, get all the best practices that are possibly there, show up with something that I put it on the desk of a dean, and they're going to say, and then of course show them websites and examples, and they're going to be like, well, yes, sir, Mr. Goldsboro, we'd love to have you as a teacher. And I know it already because of AI and the power of AI. I already, and the confidence I have, I already know that if I want to do this, it's a done deal. And
yeah.
I know that what I could come up with using AI as a tool is far better than some antiquated speaking book that somebody put together like whenever. You know what I'm saying? So it was
Yeah.
fun to be sitting there literally a couple hours ago in a therapy session and say, well, there was the old days and then there's the new days. And the new days is kind of governed by AI. And I kind of feel like if we make this decision to, and it's something like, they do it like twice a week, you go in for 2 hours or whatever. All right, game on,
Here we
man.
go.
Let's see. Because of AI, so confident that I can put together something that's better than what they've ever seen.
Nice. Yes, for sure. So I think that would be an awesome project. So good for you. And it's
Cheers.
cheers. Welcome to Mind Types After Dark, where we dive in deep. This is the third day out of three that Ridgely has done a live webinar at 8 o'clock
Yeah,
Eastern. So hopefully your streak ends tonight. And
I hope so
so
too.
okay, so your public speaking days are still going, stronger than ever, Ridgely.
I tell you what.
All
Uh,
right, just catching up on the chat. Annalisa said, Ridgely, you can't read Hubert's mind yet.
yeah.
Jim's reporting in with the Colorado weather report. Cold and rainy in Colorado also. So, and Dr. Art says, Ridgely, you are a teacher.
Oh, thank you guys. Thank you very
There
much.
you go.
Appreciate you.
All right. So the reason why I wanted to have Ridgely go over the mind types again with us was something that happened during the day today. So we've been working on a website. Most of the time, we work on websites for clients that know nothing about web design. Okay. Once in a blue moon, we do websites for people that are in the business. Okay. So we had one client, like this is for a dental firm, but prior to being um, the co-owner and office manager of the website, I mean the dental practice, our client was a graphic artist, a professional graphic designer. Okay. So, which means that it can be harder and easier. Okay. And so the number one rule always, and this is where the mind types comes in. Okay. If you want to make the connection, you have to speak the language, right? That's appropriate. So I said to Ridgely, hey, Ridgely, I got out a review document for the client to look at. Remember, this is out of the blue. She hasn't met me. I had to tell her that I've been in charge of her website redesign and this is what I've done and take a look and whatever. You can't just say, here you go, tell me what you think. That's a recipe for disaster, right? Especially if you've not made any previous connection. So I purposely spoke in her language, meaning we're both graphic design professionals. And then afterwards, she received it very well. She gave some nice feedback, loved the job. But then I said to Rishni, did you notice how I was speaking to her? And Ridgely said yes. And so what I did, folks, was I was speaking in her language, right? And so my number one rule is when you want somebody to perceive that something is um, high end and luxury driven, you say, hey, I understand your creative brief. I made sure that every element that I use goes to serving the goal of making it high end and luxury driven, right? So you mirror back what they want or what you know that they want, and you use languaging that's particular to them. So I went above and beyond and I dropped stuff about like the color palette and the fonts and this and that and all of that stuff that I ordinarily wouldn't do. But I made that connection just to connect with her. And that went over very well. So I thought originally that it's been a long time since we t told our members about not only the seven mind types and the kryptonites and the superpowers and all of that, but also then to dive in back into the language that resonates with each mind type, right?
Mhm.
And so Ridgely does this so intuitively that when he knows that somebody is a problem solver and he speaks the lingo of a problem solver, okay? And we used to teach this all the time, Ridgely. And it's been a while since we covered this. So I thought that this would be very appropriate to cover. What do you think?
I think it's a great idea. And I also think that at the end of us doing this, you need to pull up that website because it's stunning. It is stunning, bro. So for all of you who know the frickin' frack ham and egg that Hubert and I go through, what you don't see is the behind the scenes of me like, oh man, Hubert, could you just get this thing done already? But what ends up happening is Hubert ends up surprising me with how stunning the work is. And this is one of the best I've seen in a long time, bro. This is really, really good. I
Oh,
I, I
thank you.
I literally called out to Kathy. I was like, "Hey, come here. You got to see this." Yeah, it is. And then she's like, "Oh yeah, man, this whatever." So we're gonna go through this again. So let's start out with this principle. Who knows who's been paying attention for a long time? What is your favorite word? Pop it in the chat if you know. What's your favorite word? It's everybody's favorite word. What is everybody's favorite word? You're right. So Linda pops in immediately. Linda, come on, man. You should let somebody else come out. You gotta get a chance, right? Linda, okay, whatever. All good. Your name. It is the word that you respond to the most, no matter who you are, where you are, because you've been conditioned to hear that name since the very start of your life. Hubert, Ridgely. Linda, Jim. Art, Annalisa. Mary, Michelle. Scott, whoever, right? It doesn't matter. Whatever your name is, you've been conditioned to hear that since forever. You're you respond immediately. What does that mean? That means that your reticular activating system that's at the base of the brain, right, is which is the filter of all information that flows your way. The RAS or reticular activating system filters every piece of data that comes your way. We get so much data that there's no way we can process it all. So the RAS or reticular activator system filters what do I need to hear? What do I not need to hear? What is at the absolute top of the list? Your name. That is the one that sticks with you. Maybe as you're younger, your mom has a whistle, whatever that you might hear as well. But for the rest of your life, your name is the number one thing you respond to. So it triggers everything. The limbic system, your reticular activating system, et cetera, is triggered by your name. Well, as you develop your why, your mind type, the why you do what you do, it stands to reason that there are words that are going to resonate with who you are as a human being, what you stand for, what are you about. And those are called communication keywords, what we call communication keywords. So um, I'm going to walk through the mind types. We're going to talk about the communication keywords, and then I'm going to give some examples because I know, and I want you guys to pop into the chat. If you know what your mind type is, pop it into the chat, and then I'll show you how this whole thing works because it really is powerful. Again, why does anybody buy anything? Anybody want to pop this in the chat? Why does anybody buy anything? What is the number one reason people buy something? Whatever it is, your product, your service, whatever. What's the number one reason? The number one purchase driver is always trust. Trust is the number one reason. What's the first thing that builds trust? Connection, rapport, connecting with somebody in some way. If you know what their mind type is and you begin to use their communication keywords, it is like saying their name. They won't even know that it's happening, but their mind will be doing like, mm-hmm, mm-hmm, that's right, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Like this, nodding in affirmation to what you're saying. So when you do this, it's insanely powerful. So the giver. The giver is all about making a difference, adding value, right? Their superpower is causes. What they do is to contribute in some way. So, what do you think are the keywords? If you guys want to play with me here, I know that a couple people are kind of experts here, Scott, Linda, Art, a couple guys, Jim. Hop in, Annalisa, anybody, Mary, everybody, just Michelle, pop in. What are communication keywords that would apply to a giver? If you would say it's going to be something like make a difference, contribute, add value, give, uh, support, show up, be a part of, right? Anything that's inclusive is going to be a communication keyword critical to the giver. What about the connector? The connector is all about relationships and bonds. So, what do they care about? They care about trust. So, what are going to be keywords that are critical to a connector? Reliable, on time, right on, safe. Those are the kind of words that if you think about a connector, what do they care about? They care about the relationship. They care about the connection. They care about being trusted. They care about being relied upon. So if you know those words, you're going to use their communication keywords, even in an email. So I'm going to take this a little bit slowly so you guys get this kind of connection. So I'm talking to a giver in an email, and I know somebody is a giver. I can say something like, "Hey, Tom, I really appreciate the fact that you're always looking to how to contribute to the people that you're working with, and the way that you add value is really quite amazing." And what's Tom doing in that moment? That's right. That's me. That's me. That's exactly what I do. Puffing up the chest big time. Same exact beginning, but I'm going to a connector now. I'm going to say, "Hey, Tom, I really appreciate the way I can always count on you. You're so reliable. You show up on time and you do what you say you're going to do. It's a rare quality, my man. I appreciate that." That's right. Show up on time, reliable. That's me. You can count on me. That is the way people react. They literally don't even know why their chest is inflating, but you're using words that hit them like their name. It's so insanely powerful because it's not about the neocortex. It's about the limbic or feeling brain that makes decisions, including the decision to buy your product or your service. So we go to the problem solver. Problem solver is all about taking in data and coming up with options or possibilities or solutions. So what are keywords for the problem solver? Make sense out of things, step by step, analyze, bring it all together. Those straightforward, those are words that would apply to a problem solver. Contrast that with an innovator. We'll talk about the innovator for a second. The innovator is always about making things better, improving stuff. So, what are words that are going to appeal to them? uh, the next level, going further, innovate, changing, new, etc. So if I'm writing emails to these guys for the problem solver, I'm going to say something like, "Hey, Tom, I really appreciate the way you can take a bunch of information, pull it together, and make sense out of the whole thing for all of us. That process that you have is quite amazing. I'm wondering if you can help me with such and such." Tom's like, "Oh, no, not just yeah, but hell yeah, I can, brother. That's what I do. I make sense out of stuff." The innovator, same thing. "Hey, Tom, I really appreciate the way you take whatever's in front of you and you make it better. You have a way of tweaking things, improving things, and taking it to the next level. I so appreciate that. Wonder if you could help me out." Yeah, you bet I can. Right? So when we understand where the mind type is coming from, the power that you get is almost like ninja stuff, right? The perfectionist is all about doing things the right way, creating systems. That's their superpower. So the what are going to be the words that apply? Right way, done properly, on time, systems, all those kind of words that go along with creating order, eliminating chaos. That's what perfectionists do. Contrast that with the rebel, and the rebel is all about disruption. They're all about finding new ways, challenging the status quo, challenging the norm, being different, thinking differently than everybody else. So again, same exact situation. "Hey, Tom, I really appreciate the way you're able to put things in order for the rest of us. That knack that you have of organizing things and eliminating the chaos is so valuable. I wonder if you can help me out here." It's the same problem. I'm just speaking to them differently. If I'm talking to the rebel, I'm going to say, "Hey, man, I love your alternative perspective on things. The way you bring out a totally different way of approaching anything that we do and give it that unique flavor. I love that." Rebel's like, "Not, yeah, baby. That's what I do." Right? So you can do, when you understand the mind type and the keywords, you can do that. So the master that's always looking to take things deeper, go to the next level, depth is their superpower. They're things like superior, next level, advance, etc. So that same thing is going to turn out like this. "Hey, Tom, I love the way that you take things to the next level, no matter what it is. Your superior thinking and sovereign way of approaching things is quite amazing. I wonder if you can help me. Is everybody getting that no matter what your mind type is, if I know your keywords and I use those keywords, you literally are doing this. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's me. You got me. That's me. I got you. What did you need from me? I'm available. You are because the keywords are that powerful. So again, going back to where we started here with Hubert talking about talking the language of this graphic artist, when you understand the mind types and you can figure out what somebody's communication keywords are, you have a massive, massive edge over your competition. I use this in sales all the time. I know, for example, we have a client that I haven't reached out to in a long time, and I thought to myself, I'm going to reach out to them, and then I remembered their mind type is a rebel. Wow, perfect. Throw in some rebel keywords, and I do that in the emails, and I know they're going to answer me because I hit them where they live. So anyway, I'll shut up for a second. I've been on quite a rant here, Hubert, but wanted to sort of, you know, parlay what you were saying into mind types, communication keywords. There you go.
Yeah, I think that's awesome, awesome advice. And yes, when you target it correctly, it's super powerful. But also, I think to answer, because I know some people originally have a asked this in the past, like, yeah, but I'm not so good at identifying them. I always like to say, well, you can play the odds on that. It's not that hard to note when somebody's coming across with giver or connector vibes.
Hmm.
And you statistically can't go wrong because even if the person's not actually a giver, it's probably their secondary, or they hold it in noble regard anyway. Give us the break down the statistics for us as to who does what, how many, and then like tell me if that approach is too simplified or not to kind of complement their giverness or something like that.
Well, so let's kind of break it down in terms of the percentages so that everybody can kind of get a sense. So givers and connectors basically make up half the world. So about 25 to 30% each of the world you will see are givers or connectors. These are emotionally based mind types. They're based in emotion. They make decisions based on emotion, wanting to create value, building trust. Then you have the problem solver, the innovator, and the perfectionist. Okay. These guys, so the problem solver is the next most common. About 15% of the people out there are problem solvers. I think Art's a problem solver. He mentioned that in the chat. Next, you have perfectionists and innovators, about 10% each. So you can kind of play the odds. These three collectively are the analytical mind types. So again, sorry about this, my holding don't have enough hands. Emotional mind types, analytical mind types, right? So if you're in the analytical space, you're probably doing, and you can kind of tell that somebody's in the analytical space, use analytical type words. If you're in the emotional space, use emotional type words. You're going to get close. That's kind of what Huber's talking about playing the odds. Rebels are about 5%, much more difficult to identify. But if you kind of get that contrarian energy, use contrarian rebel keywords. And the most difficult of all to identify are the masters. They're just super brainiacs like Hubert, and it's harder to identify these guys. I wouldn't even worry about it. Playing the odds, you don't want to play the 2%. So forget those odds. Go with emotional, uh, these first two, analytical, next three, contrarian, rebel. Forget about this guy with a bald head.
There you go. Now, I do want to also say this because sometimes when people uh, learn this technique originally, they go a little too far on their website messaging and they try to uh, speak to certain target audiences, thinking that that's how to apply this. When in fact, that part is can be a little fruitless. The real magic, and this is about the limbic messaging and the connection, and in this day and age, especially with AI around. being sincere in what you say about yourself is the most important thing of all. Originally, we used to have a lot of people say, okay, I'm going to figure out what my ideal client's mind type is and message to that mind type, when in fact, your messaging should not be about their mind type, but in fact should be about your mind type. So if you can elaborate on that and the power of that and why that's better than trying to do it the other way around.
Yeah, we have a very simple way of saying that. There's kind of three types of people out there in the world. There's the good, the bad, and the ugly. And here's the deal. When you're trying to attract people, clients, patients, whatever it may be, to your business, you want neither the bad nor the ugly. You want to attract the good. What are the good? In this case, the good are those who believe what you believe, who resonate with what you say. They do not have to have your same mind type, but they have to be able to relate to who you are, what you stand for, and have similar values. So, how are you going to attract those people? By expressing what you stand for, what your values are, and who you are. How do you do that? By using your mind type keywords. In other words, express yourself as a problem solver, Dr. Art. Express yourself as a giver, Linda. Express yourself as a master, Hubert, and so on. When you use those communication keywords, those people who believe what you believe are naturally attracted. They don't have to have your same mind type at all, but they'll go, man, I get this guy right here. He gets me too. I feel like, okay, I'm good. And then naturally, the answer is yes to the ask, whatever the ask might be, including the ask to buy your service or your product.
That's awesome. Yeah. And so, and also, even if even if the person is not attracted to your particular mind type, they're attracted to the sincerity of the messaging that you're putting out because it's not the usual me, me, me. It's in the form of a limbic message that enrolls them into what you believe. Just 30 more seconds on this, and then let's move on to AI. But like, explain the essence of the limbic messaging. What are you trying to get them to do when you express yourself limbically? Like, tell us what's that all about?
Your intention is to connect to them heart to heart so that they open up to whatever it is that is the goal at that particular moment. And it's very subtle, man, because I understand being in a position where you're in the eat what you kill kind of mode. You're trying to figure out, how do I pay rent? How do I make payroll? How do I do whatever? And so you're like, what are they saying? What are they thinking? You're all all that stuff, right? That's a bitch of a place to be. Where we want to get to is where you become so good at expressing who you are and what you're about that you allow people to self-select into your universe if it's right for them. Now, it takes a bit to get there, right? You have to have a moderate amount of success so that you're not worrying about, is my fridge got enough food in it or whatever. But once you get to that level, it is just so important to be yourself so that you don't attract the bad and the ugly. I'm telling you, I am so clear that if I get the funniest vibe about somebody, and I do a lot of calls to bring in new business, I'm not interested anymore. I'm done. I'm like, let me refer them out to somebody else. I want to make sure that I connect with some, and I make mistakes too. Sometimes I think somebody's the right person and they're not. But for the most part, if I do my very best at expressing who we are and what we stand for fearlessly, I have a much better chance of attracting those who believe what we believe, who become the very best clients and obviously ambassadors for our business.
Yeah, awesome. I'm not going to name his name because he's not here, but he's a member of our mastermind and a colleague of Ridgely and myself. And we celebrated the good news Ridgely gave me today that he fired a client. It was a major client, so it was a big step, but the fit just wasn't there, and he took the big step of firing the client. So it can be
Yep,
done.
very proud. You know
Yeah.
what? One of my favorite things in life is to graciously, respectfully part from those people who don't believe what we believe.
There you go.
How was that for grace?
And
That was grace, right? That was gracious. I'm just saying.
that, yes, and the flip side of that, and I can attest to this personally because going into business partnership with Ridgely has changed my life. But I can tell you that as hard as it is to kick somebody off the team, Ridgely was also very careful about who he let onto the team, especially at the partnership level. So whether it was intentional or not, Ridgely put me through and my wife a rather rigorous vetting process that involved coming to my house, drinking with us, and everything else, all kinds of fun and all of this. But the converse is true too, Ridgely. You have to put as much effort into finding the right fit and making sure that that's legit, as well as getting rid of the fits that aren't right.
For sure, but you do that by being authentic. And as
Yes.
Dr. Art said in the chat here, sincerity once got a whole room of FAA representatives to agree with my position. It's so important. Authenticity is the new currency, especially in this age of AI, where it becomes even easier to create inauthentic stuff.
Yes.
So way important to be on top of this stuff.
Yeah.
It's becoming an even greater edge for all of us to understand the mind types and how to use the mind types for your business.
Exactly. And also, let's tie this into AI and then jump right into some AI topics that we have. But one of the big things, whenever you Google like how to not sound like AI or how to get AI to really um, uh, do something different that's unique, it's always about writing authentically about yourself and sincerely. And if you just ask ChatGPT, hey, is there value in doing emotional messaging on my website? It's going to be all over that. It's like the easiest way for AI not to sound like a robot,
That's
right?
right.
And so,
Exactly
just
right.
follow the limbic messaging format and you're golden. Linda says, bravo, thank you for connecting all this up. Thank you, Linda.
All right. Do you
All
have
right.
anything you want to share in terms of
Yes.
AI stuff before I go
Yes,
into an
I just want to
exercise?
yes, I just want to do some late breaking news before Ridgely puts himself and his family on a hot seat. But I just wanted to say report on this. So you've heard Ridgely talking about the concept of how the latest AI models are constantly leapfrogging over each other. Okay. So in the past couple of weeks, there's been all kinds of buzz about Gemini 3. Okay. And Gemini 3 is like not only is it like temporarily ahead, but it's forecasted in certain areas to be like ahead in a large way for quite a long time. Okay. But I want to temper that with the following observations that I'm getting from following a lot of these gurus out there. So each model is good and better or best for a certain purpose. Okay. So Gemini 3, it's being said, is great for research, it's great for programming, it's great for a lot of these analytical type of things. For creative writing and for marketing purposes, it's still not as good as ChatGPT. Okay, so for our purposes, influencing and marketing and writing, ChatGPT ChatGPT is still like amazing in its leaps and bounds, and especially the latest model 5.1 is actually quite good. Like recently and I are marveling every day about like how the pros that it turns out and the thoughts that and here's the thing, folks. A lot of us on this mastermind group are actually pretty darn good writers. And what is impressing us about AI is we look at this and not only are we saying, okay, that's good, we're saying, I see what it's doing. Right, Ridgely? Something will come out and you'll see the undercurrents that it's evoking. And then you're just like, dang, if I was like fresh and I had all day to work on this, maybe I could have come up with that. But this thing is tireless and it's thinking on multiple levels. So my big news thing about Gemini 3 is yes, it's a great model, but it's skewed on the analytical side. And for creative writing, ChatGPT is still, very, very good. So I just wanted to report that as news, Richard.
Yeah, for sure. So great stuff there. And let's just go ahead and fire that guy up, shall we? We're going to go right to ChatGPT on 5.1.
Yeah.
Are you seeing my
And
screen?
by the way, Dr. Art is saying I've started using ChatGPT 5.1 thinking for more depth. And so originally, before you type anything, just click that little drop down next to 5.1 up there, and you can choose different modes that it works on. It can be faster, it can be slower, you can go in thinking mode. I mean, like, and for the purpose of this, you may want to put it into thinking mode so that it'll like tell you what it's thinking. And for training purposes, it's quite illustrative. It slows it down a little bit, but the output is actually that much better. And it's instructive for us to look at the reasoning behind what it's doing. And the other thing, originally, I want to point out too, is I've become more convinced than ever that the value of getting output from ChatGPT, any of these chats, is to purposely put in less information when you're starting. Like, for example, I know that's counterintuitive because of Ridgely's, big prompt approach, but these models have gotten very good at kind of eliciting um, your intention through dialogue. So, Ridgely, you may want to put in a little less and take it multi-step as opposed to putting everything all in at once, please.
Okay, so real quick before I get into this, my mom and my little sister are major chefs. And I mean, the amount of time that they spend agonizing over meals and stuff is almost a bit like, do you people not have anything else to do with your, it's like mind-boggling, right? And so when it gets time, when we get close to Thanksgiving, Christmas, right, it becomes a whole hullabaloo, right? Which family are you going to for Thanksgiving? Which ones are you going to for Christmas? We got kids, grandkids, we got older adults, relatives, whatever. Craziness. Super crazy. So I'm always, and if I'm fully transparent, don't really care for it all that much. I'm one of those guys that I don't really need anything. If I have something that I need, I just go buy it. So like the whole material thing of the Christmas thing is just like annoying to me. But my mom and sister love this. They're all into it. And thoughtful gifts and this and that and yada yada. And then the meals are critical. You got to have the perfect meal. I'm like, whatever. So so oftentimes what ends up happening is they come up with these great ideas, and then my job is to fund these great ideas, right? And I got to tell you, money is a lot easier than time. And I'm all over this relationship. I'm like, oh yeah, it just cost me a couple $100. I'm in. Boom, done, finished, whatever. So they came to me with a thing about saying, hey, we got a new idea. It's called the Seven Fishes Paella. And it's based on the seven fishes and yada yada. And I'm pretending like I know what they're talking about, and I have no idea what they're talking about. I don't even know what these seven fishes are, no clue. And they said, we're going to need a special pan and we need whatever. But what do you think about Christmas Eve and the seven fishes? I'm like, Mom, that sounds great. Whatever. I have no clue what they're talking about. Like zero. Never heard of the seven fishes, and I don't know what it means. But what I do know is how to use AI to figure stuff out. So let's just take an example of something that happened in my life personally that just happened recently. So much easier for me to just say, sure, great, sounds cool. And then I can go figure it out. And how do we do that using AI? So, to Hubert's point, I'm going to say, tell me about the Christmas seven fishes tradition. And I honestly, purposely didn't do anything about, I have no idea about these seven fishes. Zero. Here we go. So I can go to AI and I can figure it out. And now it's thinking. So AI, because I told it thinking, the user is asking about the seven fishes, the Christmas tradition. It's a cultural tradition. Oh, Italian American Christmas Eve. Whoa, that's why they said they wanted to do it on Christmas Eve. Just coming to me right now. It's a Christmas meal with seven or more different seafood dishes, things like bacalhau, fried smelts, calamari, shrimp. Man, this is starting to sound amazing. Okay, I'm kind of liking this already. This is sounding good because I kind of get tired of the whole ham turkey thing, right? So, oh, it seven sacraments, 7 days of creation, seven deadly sins, seven hills of Rome, etc. Typical dishes you'll see. Etc. Wow, this is kind of cool. And by the way, they want to do this on Christmas Eve. So they obviously knew about this stuff. That's a Christmas, Italian American Christmas Eve tradition. But they said to me that they wanted to make it a Catalan paella because paella is a big thing from Spain. We grew up in Spain. We love paella, and they've obviously figured out that they could do the seven fishes in the paella. So I'm going to now ask, um, hey, how could we use the seven fishes in a Catalan paella? Again, following my mentor Hubert Lee, and I'm not putting a whole lot in there, but I'm getting the information by feeding it in and doing it in a way that is iterative. We're going from one thing to the next to the next, and we'll see what it looks like. A user wants ideas for using the seven fishes in a seafood paella. Oh, look at that. Using a variety of fish from Catalonia. No need for recent updates. Okay, here we go. And now it's going to suggest which ones we should use. And then it's going to say, hey, what are the elements that Catalonia would add, right? I'm going to already go ahead and ask another question down here. What would be the perfect cooking vessel for this paella? Look at this. Choose your seven fishes. Think in categories so the pan isn't chaos. Da da da, shrimp, fish bones, monkfish, squid,
Oh, see, that's
cuttlefish,
a good idea
clam.
that some of the ingredients can be going into the stock. So you don't have to do it all at once kind of a deal. You could they could have fun every night leading up until then.
And look at this. Love this idea. Very Christmas Eve meets Mediterranean. One clean way to turn Feast of the Seven Fishes into a Catalan style seafood paella. The Catalan twist. Sofrigit, picada. What's that? Slow cooked onion, garlic, tomato. Oh my God, this is starting to look good already, man. Toasted almonds, garlic, parsley, saffron, thin. And they have Egyptian saffron. I know my mom has some.
Ah,
It was
there you
brought to
go.
her from Italy. How to layer it. Look at this. A whole thing. Man, all good. I'm gonna print this whole thing and take them to them and just let them know. Okay. I'm going to say, okay, now what would be the perfect cooking vessel? Watch this. Here we go.
Now Art is saying you'll notice that thinking is a little slower, but still amazingly fast.
Right? Good point, Art. You're absolutely
Yeah.
right. It is a little slower, but the answers are so comprehensive.
Now, by the way, there's a button that you can say answer now instead of letting it think so slowly. You can click answer now, but I enjoy seeing its thinking.
Here we go. Classic choice. Carbon steel paella pan. You know what that says to me? I'll be buying one of those for mom and my sister because they're going to need this to do their thing and they're going to make sure that I pay for it. Okay, cool. Awesome. All right. Now what I want, um, we will be four people for this feast. Here we go. Specific diameter. Here we go. They're going to tell me the specific diameter. I love this. This is like super ridiculous. We're going to go further here. I want to kind of help us all understand that this tool is insane, how fast it is to do incredibly great stuff. Okay. What wines will pair really well with this dish? Oh, why would I have to think about this? Why do I have to go consult the wine guy? I can just ask AI
Right.
and just go buy him a Total Wine. Here we go. Mediterranean white and bubbles heaven. Think bright acidity, saline mineral notes, and not too oaky. I'll give you a simple framework, grape regions, etc. You want bubbles? Perfect for Christmas Eve. Cava Brut, which is made right down the road from our house in Catalonia, where I grew up, right? And everybody in my family loves it. Start with cava as your aperitif. Keep pouring it throughout the paella. It'll handle everything. Or main white courses, of course, whites that love seafood and saffron. Sports, Spanish and Portuguese, Albarino, which I love. Verdejo, which I love. Man, that's great. This is great stuff. White Grenache, Garnacha Blanca, very good also. All right, cool. Now I'm going to say, and then they say, okay, can we do red? Yes, but choose wisely. All right, slightly chilled, big Rioja, whatever. Simple game plan for your table of four. One bubbly and one white is perfect for four people. Bottle two with the paella, etc. You want to have three and have some fun. Back up for the red drinker, etc. Okay, great. Now I can take it further. What is the perfect Catalan dessert or
Mm.
after the paella dish to enjoy? Boom. I mean, I love this. It makes life so much easier to do this. Like, what? This is crazy. I don't have to overthink this. I just have to use the tool. A few perfect options. Crema catalana. Man, do I like crema catalana.
Your
And
sister
it's
would like that.
so good, especially when you take a crema catalana and you've got the burner thing, which my sister,
Yeah.
of course, has 100%, and you burn the top and it gets crunchy, and you got to take your spoon and crack through the
Mm.
crunchiness into the nice creamy custard.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh, look at the cheese with the nuts
Now,
and the
Meli
honey.
Mato is super good. It's also a Catalan thing. It's cheese, and then you put honey in with nuts. It's lovely with some wine. Then toro, which is turon, is nugget, basically
Yeah,
nougat.
that's
Uh,
delicious.
Soft,
And
chewy.
that one's cute because it comes in these little decorative boxes often, and
Yeah,
they're
for
very pretty.
sure. Oh man, so if I give this to my mom and Liza, they're gonna make me buy all this shit. Okay, got it. Oh, good. What I
I
do for your feast of four.
There you
Christmas
go.
feast doesn't.
I have a suggestion for your next prompt there, please.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Next prompt.
Yes. Can you say, my guests are real foodies. Can you give me a backstory and tasting notes that I should tell to maximize their enjoyment? Emphasize the juxtaposition of cultures and foods and approaches. That's now it's going to give you the story to tell, Rich. The juxtaposition of cultures, foods, and how about traditions? This is the
Oh,
part that this is the part that typically people don't go to this level. But when you do it, and everybody, I've dined with these folks, guys, and talk about ultimate foodies.
I mean, this is so cool. And you can see what AI is doing to come up with this. A mini backstory you can tell at the table. Tasting notes for the paella. Backstory and tasting notes for the dessert. A few short phrases you can drop in casually that make you sound like you've done a culinary thesis on this. What? What is up with this? One sea, two traditions. So tonight's dinner is a little love letter to the Mediterranean. In southern Italy, Christmas Eve is traditionally a vigilia, a night of waiting. You stay away from meat and instead you celebrate with seafood, the feast of the seven fishes. A few hundred miles west, along the Catalan coast, people have been doing their own kind of seafood celebration for centuries. Big, generous rice dishes like paella, where the sea ends up in the pan. What we're eating tonight is a meeting of those two traditions, the ritual of seven fishes from Italy, cooked in the language of Catalan paella, same sea, different dialects.
That is awesome.
That's just ridiculous,
Oh
man.
my God, that's
What is
awesome.
that? I'm sounding like like I really know what I'm talking about here, right? Here we go. Little comments while people are eating. This isn't a heap of seafood on rice paella. This is layered like a story. The base is Catalan. The cast is Italian Christmas. What?
Can
What?
you imagine if one of the guests was Italian? I mean, like how they'd feel. This is like
Oh man, you look at these things, man. I'm only going to pick a couple of them, right? Because the
the funny thing is this is how like Ridgely and I and Ridgely's brother and I, this is how we talk without AI. I mean, that's the
right.
funny thing.
I just love this stuff, right? You could come, you sound like you really know what you're talking about. The chunks of fish are the main character. They give you bite and structure. If you use monkfish, it's almost like lobster. It's firm, juicy, a little sweet.
I
If
am
you use bacala, you've snuck in the most Italian of the seven fishes, salted cod, the classic of Christmas Eve, into a Spanish dish. I mean, that's just
That's
ridiculous.
incredible. This is crazy.
Okay.
Look at that
It's super
last
great.
look at that last point. Like if you drop that last point, it's like people know that you know what you're talking about. The little burnt rice at the bottom.
At the bottom where the rice catches just a bit, that's the sakarat. It's like the toasted edges of lasagna or the crispy rice in Korean bibimbap. You get concentrated, smoky, nutted flavor in those crackly bits, right? It's so ridiculous. Get this. If you want one simple sommelier style line when you set it down, you'll get layers. First, the sweetness of the suffragette, then the briny lift from the shellfish, and underneath it all is this smoky, nutty sauerkraut that makes the whole thing feel like the sea met a campfire.
Lyrical.
What?
Yeah, wow.
Insane, right? Unbelievable, right? So the point here is, guys, look at this. It's crazy what you can do. Tasting notes for dessert. Notice the nose. It's more citrus and cinnamon than vanilla. That's what make it feel Mediterranean rather than French, like custard that's been on holiday in an orange grove.
Wow. It's like a spoonful of sunshine after a night at sea.
What? I mean, who in the hell can do this without AI, man? This is I mean, I know we're goofing and having
Yeah,
some fun,
right.
but this is crazy, man. This is crazy. I want one more thing. Give me some real out there notes to share about Kava.
Ah, nice.
Right? Just to see what they say that you can then bring to the experience. I'm going to then take this all, put it in a Google Doc, do some stuff with it, refine it, and then present it to my mom and sister on Sunday when I go to
There you
see them.
go. Nice.
Here we go. Let's make you sound like the slightly unhinged sommelier of the Mediterranean. Here's some wild, nerdy, and poetic lines you can drop about cava. One-liners between pours. Ha. Okay. At first, it was too technical for me. The word cava just means cave or cellar, literally referring to the underground cellars where the bottles age in the dark. It's a wine named after where it naps. Ah, 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 ah. Unbelievable, right? Here we go. More time with dead yeast than most of us spend in therapy, right? The poor cousin is now the cool cousin. Tasting notes. Smells like a bakery opened in a lemon grove. Lemon grove, croissants, crushed seashells, and a hint of grapefruit pith. It's like someone zested a lemon straight into a mineral spring and then baked a baguette next to it. The hell?
Uh,
I'm just saying. Right? Taste the crunchy rice, then sip kava. Turns the toasted bits into popcorn dipped in lemon and sea spray.
wow.
Okay, I am now really feeling like a genius, okay? Just saying. Oh man, a short toast you can literally read out loud. To cava, the cave-aged, underpriced, overachieving Spanish cousin of champagne. Same method, different soul. May it keep our paella company, make our seven fishes sing, and help us pretend we all live somewhere between Barcelona and Napoli.
Awesome.
All
Well,
right,
Risha,
Drew.
you outdid yourself with this hot seat. We're all starving now.
I know, right? I mean, how just ridiculous. And just more than anything, crew, I absolutely promise you I knew nothing about the seven fishes thing. In fact, I told Hubert at the beginning, I said, "Hey man, I think there's this Israeli thing like at seven fishes." He's like, "No, dude, you're wrong. You don't know what you're talking about." I'm like, "You're right, I don't." But because of AI, in just a few minutes, as we all saw, I now can take that stuff, pop it into a Google Doc, spend 10 minutes or something, then share that with my mother and sister, get them so fired up about this that they will spend about 100 hours preparing this thing that I will then have to show up with nothing but the kava and enjoy.
And your
So,
tasting notes.
and the tasting notes. I mean, like, right? So please, let's not forget. I don't want you to speak to this for a second here, Huey. Let's not forget that this tool is so good for daily living experiences. What do you got going on? Where are you going? How would you like to research that place? What could you do over there? What other options are there? There's so many things that it's not like Google search typing anymore. You're having a
Right.
conversation with this gigantic knowledge base that can give you stuff that you could never come up with on your own. Huey?
Yes, and that's why I always tell people don't get overly ambitious in what you type in. Start slow. Think of this as a dialogue, a dance, right? And think of it this way too, though. If you don't ask, you don't get. You kind of have to know to kind of take it to the next level. Like for example, it was all well and good what Ridgely was doing, but then it went jumped to a whole new level when I started asking it Ridgely to type in like provide a narrative for the foodies. Then suddenly you're now at level two, right? Because now you're doing stuff, synthesizing stuff that ordinarily it'd be hard to do, right?
Hmm.
So, being creative that way is what it takes. And I have to say, as easy as AI becomes easier and easier and easier, the value of having a mastermind and a group to kind of bounce ideas off of becomes more and more uh, powerful as an idea, as a technique, because it's not about how to use AI, it's what to ask for. And that comes from, shared group experience.
For sure. All right, man, we're wrapping this thing up. I will let everybody know that we are going to take a break next week for Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving to all of you. We are very, very grateful to having all of you in our lives. I hope you have a wonderful time with your friends, family, loved ones, etc. We will reconvene on December 3rd, 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Pacific. So, Mind Times Mastermind, December 3rd, which is Wednesday. We will reconvene 4 Eastern, 1 o'clock Pacific. You'll get email notices, etc. Anything else you want to add, Hubert? Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Yes, I have
Go ahead.
three things. I have three things to add. Here's the
I know
first one.
you. I
Yeah,
know
here's the first one originally. Why did the mashed potatoes cross the road?
you.
Why did the mashed potatoes cross the road?
No idea.
To get to the other sides. That's pretty funny.
That's actually pretty good. Okay. I'll give
Originally,
you that. That's good.
okay, good. Where do chemistry students sit on Thanksgiving? Where do chemistry students sit on Thanksgiving?
I have no idea.
At the periodic table. That's pretty good too. And
You're doing
fun.
way better than usual, bro.
I
You're
know.
doing way
And
better
here,
than normal. Okay.
and finally, originally, what does a turkey give thanks for on Thanksgiving? What does a turkey give thanks for on Thanksgiving?
What?
Vegetarians.
Okay, that was damn funny. All right. All right, guys. We love you all. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday. We'll see you at the beginning of December. And until then, ciao for now, man. Show back up again. Hubie, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye, bro. Oh, yeah, yeah. So funny.